All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Achak, B'dash, double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akim out here pushing his gospel and truth and his sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Lord willing, fall upon all your houses. So, Brother Corner Walk, come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shah, Lord willing. It is edifying, Lord will. It is straight to the point. But, you know, the brother I was talking to your brother Yuana, man, not too long ago, man, and he ultimately heard something about this, as you see right here, this plan, right, about, you know, from one of his co-workers, man, you know, and he ultimately brought it up to my attention, you know what I mean? And we were talking about it a little bit. You know, and I went ahead and did a little bit of research. There's really not much information on this at all. They're saying that it's fictional, right? That it's not real. But I just wanted to get, you know, my 2 cents on it, man, because this ultimately, you know, isn't far-fetched, right? If this plan was real, it ultimately isn't far-fetched. You know, so without further ado, I'm just going to read a little bit of this article, and then I'm going to grab a few precepts, and then we'll get out of here. I don't want to make this too long, right? It says, it's the King Alfred Plan. It's on Wikipedia. Right, it says the King Alfred Plan is a fictional CIA-led scheme supporting an international effort to eliminate people of African descent. Right, and we understand again that is not far-fetched, right? Because Esau Edom, right, as it says in Ezekiel 35:5, he has a perpetual hatred, right? You know, of the Israelites, right? Again, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? You Israelites that have been scattered abroad as a whole, right? You know, he hates, right? We're talking about absolute hate. And you can see that hatred in you know, in the events that have taken place in history, man. You know, Esau Edom completely hates the so-called black man. You know what I mean? The most, right? Out of all Israelites, he hates the so-called black man the most, right? Would be the southern tribes, right? The so-called, you know, African Americans, the so-called Levites, so-called Jamaicans, so on and so forth, right? The tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Right, which are the darker, you know, of the tribes, right? Darker skin of the tribes, right? And he's been doing anything and everything that he can, right, since the beginning of time to ultimately get rid of the Israelites, man. Right, going back to, you know, the time of Jacob and Esau's birth, man. Right, when they were getting that blessing, or just after the birth, right, when they were getting that blessing, right, he ultimately, you know, wanted to get rid of Jacob, man, his brother. Right, which Jacob is the, you know, a progenitor of the, you know, the Israelites, the 12 tribes, right? The tribes meaning sons, right? The 12 sons of Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, you know? So actually, let me grab this precept. I was going to grab it a little bit later, but let me grab it right now. This is Psalms, the 83rd chapter. I'll start at verse 2. It says, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head." Again, who's this going in on, right? This going in on Esau Edom hating the Israelites, man. You know, it says, verse 3, it says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones," man. You know, this is exactly, you know, what Esau Edom has done, right? And it continue to do, right? What is that? Psalms, Psalms, the 64th chapter, it says, "Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked," man. You know, so they're constantly doing these, you know, these meetings behind scenes and so on and so forth, right? Plotting, you know, how they ultimately are going to be able to get rid of you Israelites, man. Because again, everything that they do, right, is contrary to the Israelites, man. Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? He is the devil, right? He is the Israelites' enemy, right? The Israelites are the protagonists. The Edomites are the antagonists in the story, right? Verse 4 says, "They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance." Again, right? And they've done this many different ways, right? Fucking up the food system, the air, right? The clothing, right? Putting pork in everything, right? Making these laws, right? Which again, you know, force us to, you know, operate contrary to what the laws, you know, of Yahweh Shai tell us to, you know. everything is just completely wicked and everything is left, right? And again, their whole goal is to get rid of you Israelites, man, right? It says that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, man. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, right? It says the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, and so on and so forth, man. Meaning, these other nations, are part of this, this planning, right? As well, right? Right along with Esau Edom. But again, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, he is the sole, creator, of everything that you see here that's wicked and evil and left. That's his damn devil, man. And all these different things that happen, right, to the Israelites, man. Esau Edom, he's the one, right? He's the one that is there, right? You can read Sirach, the 12th chapter, right around, I think it's the 16th or 17th verse, man. Right, when it says, when adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. But I want to go back. Continuing on halfway, I'll start from the beginning again. It says the King Alfred Plan is a fictional CIA-led scheme, right? Which we just proved that it's not. This isn't far-fetched, man. So them calling this fictional is kind of it's kind of BS. It says it's a fictional CIA-led scheme supporting an international effort to eliminate people of African descent, invented by author John A. Williams in this novel, The Man Who Cried, I Am. Williams described it as a government plan to deal with the threat of a black uprising in the United States by cordoning off black people into concentration camps in the event of a major racial incident, man. Which ultimately there is going to be, right, a racial incident, a racial war that is ultimately going to take place according to the scriptures, man. Matthew's the 24th chapter, man. Let's grab that. Matthew's 24. And we'll start at verse 3. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. Right? So, it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right? Here's the point. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places, which we are seeing these things happen, right? Nation rising up against nation, Moab rising up against Esau, right, which is America, right? You have Ammon, which I think North Korea, they would be Ammonites. I'm not 100% sure, right? But you have North Korea rising up against America, Russia rising up against America, which those are Edomites, Russians and Americans, they're Edomites, right? And so on and so forth, man. You have all these nations, right, basically rising up to war, right? But dealing a little bit more, at home, right, within America. And you have what? You have Israelites, Edomites, man. You have a whole, laundry list of nations that ultimately dwell here, right? But who are the ones that have the most problems with each other, man? Right? Going all the way back to the beginning. Hey, it's Jacob and Esau, right? Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white men, and the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. Right? They've been having it out, since the beginning. Again, since the beginning, right? Since they were in the womb, man. Let me grab this just to prove that, right? Dealing with, at home, right? This is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, right? Which the Egyptians, right, today are the modern day Americans, right? You got a lot of Israelites that identify as Americans, man, right? You have Esau, Edom, he identifies as Americans, patriots, for their country. It says, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom, man. Right? So that's ultimately going to be that civil war, right? Or racial war that's ultimately going to, spiral out of hand, man, right? It's going to get out of hand for one reason or another, man, right? Esau Edom in this current time, he's starting to show his true colors, man, right? More in the last few years, right? When Trump came into office, man, you had a whole bunch of, when he was coming in, you had a whole bunch of, that hatred being revealed, right? For you Israelites being in front of your face, man, right? But you Israelites, again, y'all just, brush that off, man. Oh, not my white friend, this, that, and the third. He ain't never done me wrong, right? Hey, well, this damn devil, man, he'll play a role, man. He's real good at playing a role, right? And waiting till that last minute, He'll wait till that last minute when he is able to creep in, right? And then at that point, man, once he gets what he gets, and guess what, he'll dip on you, man. This is how this damn devil is. The scriptures describe him, man. His characteristics, who he is, right? How he moves, right? How he ultimately always operates with a underlying agenda, man. But again, this is what's going to take place. This is prophecy, man. That there will be ultimately a racial war, right? Or a civil war, right? Here on American soil, man. This is going to take place, man. Right? So again, this whole King Alfred plan, this isn't far-fetched, man. Right? And at that point, what's going to happen? Right? Esau Edom is ultimately going to raise up, right? You're going to have, military get involved. This is going to be a whole thing, man. It's going to be, in the Civil War this time, right? The racial war this time is ultimately going to be far greater than that of the Civil War that happened, back in the 1700s, man. It's gonna supersede that, man. So let me see if I can get a little bit more off of this. I'll read these top two right here. 1967 novel. It says the King Alfred Plan first appeared in Williams' 1967 novel, The Man Who Cried I Am, an account of the life and death of Richard Wright. In the afterword to later editions, William compares the King Alfred Plan to intelligence programs devised by J. Edgar Hoover in the 1960s to monitor the movements of black militants, right? Because Esau ultimately fears, that uprising, man, right? He ultimately fears, right, Jake coming back into power. And this is why, again, right, when we're standing upon our feet, right, as it says in Revelations, the 12th chapter. Matter of fact, let me grab that. Or not Revelation. Yeah. Revelations 11. This is Revelations 11 and verse, I think it's verse 8, right? It says in there, 11 and 11, right? It says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, right? And that goes, starting, right, that 3.5 years, that 350 years from 1619, right, all the way till 1969, right, when Abba Bivens came on the scene, right? From then on, man, right? So that was the end of that 350-year period when Abba Bivens came on the scene, right? And guess what? Hey, now we have that spirit of life, man, within us, man. And we're standing upon our feet, man, preaching the words of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, man, correctly and directly, right? It says, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them, right, man? So Esau Edom, ultimately fears, right, the Israelites coming back, to the knowledge of who they are and who their power is, man. Which, going back, into the 1960s and 70s, right, around the, the Black Panther era, so on and so forth, we were obviously, we weren't, in our right mind, right? We weren't worth our power, man. But still at that point, Esau Edom still feared, right, us coming back, and ultimately coming back on him, man. So again, he would set up, plans such as this one, right, just in case it would ultimately, Jake would start to rise up. Esau Edom would come in like a flood, right, and able to try to subdue, the uprising of the Israelites, man, right? But in this time, right, which he, could have very well done at any moment, man, right? Because again, it wasn't for us to, ultimately thrive and, to rival Esau Edom and overtake this damn devil, man. Right, ourselves, right? We need Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua ultimately put the spirit upon us to ultimately do that. There's a set time, right, for Esau Edom ultimately going down and for us to be rose up, man. you know. And now we're in that time. We're in the time where this is ultimately starting to take place, man. You know, so you best believe Esau has a system set in place, just like the one that we're reading now about the King Alfred Plan, set in place, ready to go, man. Right? Because it tells you, right, when Esau Edom comes down having great wrath, that he's going to do what, man? Right? That he's going to come, come in like a flood, right? That great insurrection is going to take place, right? Let me grab that in 2nd Esdras 16, and we'll start at verse 68. It says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, man. It says, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Right, man? Right? Because Esau Edom, he's waiting, man. Right? He's waiting for to get those orders, man, to come in like a flood. He's waiting, right? Because that's when you're going to see a lot of that hatred, man. That's when you're going to see the aggressiveness, right? You're going to see the true nature of Esau Edom, right? Him being the wicked, man. You're going to see a lot of things, man. Rapings, right? Of children, women, men, the murder of, innocent people, right? You're going to see a lot of that, man. Which ultimately, at the end of the day, when Esau comes in like a flood, that's going to be judgment from Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? But I mean, innocent as, they had not, had done nothing wrong. Esau just comes in there, right, and treats them, any way he wants, man. Doing all manner of wicked acts to them, man. And so on and so forth, man. But this is verse 69. It says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. Right? Here's the point. Verse 70 says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right? Because at the end of the day, Esau Edom is coming for you Israelites, man. Right? Whether you're in GMS, believe the same doctrine, doesn't matter, man. Whatever doctrine you hold, man, Esau Edom is coming after you, man. Right? Especially those that are, in an Israelite camp, man. Any Israelite camp, whether you have the truth or not, man. Esau's coming after you, man. Period, point blank. Because again, his whole agenda is to keep the world population at 500 million or less, right? Which again, we're numbered as the sands of the sea, so we're the majority, right? So who do you think he has to take out, in order to, really take out a large chunk of those numbers, man? Right? Because there's almost 8 billion people, if not 8 billion people on this planet, right? Who makes them the majority? The Israelites, man. So for him to be able to achieve those numbers, he has to take us out, man. So we're going to be his main target, right? It says, verse 71, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, man. Sparing none. So this is going to show you, right? If you can imagine the mentality they're going to be in, man. They're going to be like literal walking demons, man. Not giving no F's about anything, right? Life or anything, or anybody's life or anything at all, right? Verse 72 says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Meaning, hey, you're going to get taken out of your house, you're going to get thrown into these FEMA camps, man. Right? So just as you read about that King Alfred Plan where they're going to take people, and throw them into their into these concentration camps. Again, this is not far-fetched, man. According to the prophecy, this is what's going to take place, man. It says, verse 73, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Right, man? Because at the end of the day, Isaiah 59 and 19, right, the Lord's going to raise up the standard for the elect, right? Everybody else is ultimately going to be judged, by way of, famine, right? Being given over to the famine, right? Being given over to starvation, cannibalism, Esau Edom, right? Which is going to be the sword of the Lord, man, right? All these different forms of judgment they're going to be given over to, man. But the elect are going to be delivered from these situations, man. But yeah, man, I didn't want to touch on this article too much. I mean, like I said, there's not too much information, on it. So if this plan is, so-called fake, man, again, it wouldn't be too far-fetched if it was real, right? Because again, according to prophecy, these things are going to take place, right? Just as what, this is described in this so-called plan, But yeah, man, I just want to get my 2 cents on it, man. So Lord wills, edifying, Lord will, straight to the point. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shem, Al Shai, Shem, Kakwadash, Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, of Great Millstone. Till next time, I say shalom.